Pretty even matchup. Both NHRA credentialed, the crews very competent. There you go, just spinning the supercharger over to fire up nearly 8,000 horsepower. An amazing class of motorsport, this one, Top Fuel. And this should be an amazing final.
And the lane choice going to Andrew Cowan on this occasion. He got the nod by 0.02 of a second. That's how they determine lane choice for the eliminations in the Andra Pro Series. Cloudier conditions as we head into the first final of a brand new season.
Waiting on Andrew Cowan now. Clean and warm up those tyres. Establish a nice thin strip of freshly laid down rubber to set the launch zone for these cars. And when we talk about launch zone, how about this? 8 Gs on launch, equal to the space shuttle. Halfway down the quarter mile, as we've alluded to before, 450 plus kilometres an hour. That's 200 metres down the racetrack. When they set the idle, you hear the note now, they'll finesse around the engine, the crew chiefs, try and get it around 2,600 RPM, and then in excess of 8,000 RPM out of these Hemi-based nitromethane burning Top Fuel motors.
And if nothing goes wrong, $1,000 per second to run down the quarter mile. You do the maths on that one.
It's time to crank it up and enjoy the sights and sounds of Andra Pro Series. Trouble for both cars, but McLenathan, the American, takes it. He won his first event back in 1992, the first man to go 4.8 in Top Fuel and in excess of 320 miles an hour. Now adds an Andra Pro Series round win here in Australia. Well done.
The Rapisada team look a bit jet lagged from the US trip, but it matters not now.
Graham Cowan and Santo Rapisada congratulating each other. Not the perfect end, but I have to say, Matt Nolte, this is one of the best Top Fuel events we have seen in the Andra Pro Series, without a doubt.
And it makes it 16 4-second passes for this weekend alone. Top Fuel is going off. There's a replay. You can see both chutes deploy on both cars.
Look at the chop marks of the tyres on the Starline area. I still think they may have undershot the racetrack. Not sure, not so much sure about Cowan here. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, got up on the tyre, so maybe the Aeroflow rocket car a little too aggressive. Cowan, a little bit aggressive, as I said, but maybe for McLenathan, just a little bit underestimating the start line on his side of the racetrack. Dropped the cylinder, but that's more a byproduct of the back pedal of the car.
We just stepped it up too much for you, hey, Corey.
I saw you out in front when I started to shake. And
One of these days, yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's going. All of a sudden, he kind of went up. Like, oh, God, I'm going to get lucky. That's all it was.
One of these days I will, huh?
Hey,
okay, buddy.
You did great.
Good job.
Stay here.
So is it finally coming together for the All-Star Batteries team? They're starting to get their head around this twitchy race car combination. Longer burnout for Stephen Reed than Gary Phillips, I have to say. This should be a good final.
And all the work that goes on in the workshops, respective teams, the lead up to this event means a lot, but of course, the 4-0 lead in the favour of Phillips in the wins department. Steve Reed's going to have a lot of work to do to knock him down.
That's in the modern Andra Pro Series era. Conditions ideal. We've seen that from this Eliminator all event. Consistently quick runs, fast runs. The form guide suggests you'd have to slightly lean towards Gary Phillips, but on the virtue of a very good semi-final performance, Stephen Reed, he has to like his chances and have self-belief, genuine belief that he can take it up to the multi-time champ. He too, a former champ.
Both cars come in. Phillips looking for number 10 at the Australian Nationals. 9 sounds good, 10 sounds even better. Looking behind the Lucas Oil Products Ford Mustang.
Still up on the high RPM. Again, this time. Oh, gee, squeaker. Reed was in front. You'd think, but he's knocked the timing cone, so that definitely hands it to Gary Phillips. That was going to be a very tight finish. It was regardless, but well done to Gary Phillips. Double-digit town.
And goes into the 50s for the second time and collects his 10th Australian Nationals crown. Hugs and kisses and handshakes and back slaps all round.
Gary Phillips wandered a fair bit around the racetrack, as did.
They're almost like Siamese twins here. Watch the way Phillips goes towards the wall. He drags Reed across too. And just hits that timing beam with the exhaust.
He was in front. It was actually he who had the start line advantage. Or pedal two for Gary Phillips. Just past the 60-foot time. A quick catch though. He is so good at catching a race car.
Boys enjoy their day at the Fuchs Australian Nationals, and why not?
We got it, man. Let's do it.
Fires the car up, brings it to life. As we said, new injector hat on the car, and he mentioned in the pits that the car felt a little bit dead at top gear near the finish line. Down a little bit on ET and mile per hour on what they expected, considering how well it left the start line. They are chasing, they are confident now, talking about the Valeri team, of a mid-80s tune-up here. They can't lean on their engines as hard as this man, for example, or John Zappia. They do not have the inventory. There's no doubt these two West Aussie-based teams have all the gear you need. How about this for a bit of fast facts in the Pro Series? One door slammer has more horsepower than 8 HSV Holden Commodores combined, and probably 20 of Matt Nolte's VT Commodore sedan.
At least 3,500 horsepower to be more precise, and around 10,500 RPM. They're quite high revving engines. Mark Valeri, the good form continues for the Narrabeen Smash Repairs team. Made the final at the Winter Nationals, but the weather above sealed his fate that weekend.
This car leaves the front end nice and steady on the start line, even though I like the high hiking front steerers for Valeri, but he knows if he leaves strongly here against Robin Judd, focus on that drag racing start line Christmas tree, then nail those perfect shift points. 3-speed transmission systems, typically in top door slammer. He could beat this tough West Aussie rival. Oh, the first steps there, huge hole shot. But that's the end of the game. There's an issue for Valeri and a soft 6-1-1-2 for Robin Judd. Mark Valeri will be cussing. Oh, bit of breeze in the top end for the Aeroflow car.
And the car just stops just before half track for Valeri. And Judd goes through for a 6.11. Replay on board with Valeri. You can see the look. The hand gets thrown across the steering wheel. Oh, it just shut down.
Robert Judd hunched over the wheel, running the butterfly steering in comparison to Valeri's traditional wheel. Oh, fun in the braking area. Track getting better. The conditions ideal. We should see some good final stoush between. Coming into this event, it's fair to say, Matt, we expected on paper these two to feature heavily, and that's what we've got. Chris Matheson, Mark Drew, top bike final at Sydney Dragway.
The two-time champion takes on the man who's looking for his first in top bike racing, Mark Drew. And you're right, the script couldn't have been written any better for this championship opener here at Sydney Dragway.
Interesting for this team, talking about Chris Matheson, they'd been predominantly running in the rider's left-hand lane in the semi-final, did the lane swap just to do a bit of R&D, and they were happy with how the bike reacted to this particular lane. So guess what? The lane swap proved critical. They're deciding they believe they can get the job done again in this rider's right-hand lane this time.
I think Chris Matheson will be happy just to race someone this weekend. He's had 2 solo passes. This bike, of course, from the USA, the Larry McBride build. Nitro Voodoo. It's gone 5.8 seconds in the USA.
That is nuts. Just for the record, that is nuts. And this K-Trans bike is heading into nuts down itself. I mean, think about it. A bike that weighs half a tonne can go 360, 370 plus kilometres an hour, and you lie across this monstrous engine that's running liquid explosive. Spooning an Exocet missile, I've heard someone describe it once, and they can have it all to themselves. We'll enjoy calling it.
I'm nervous just watching on the screen.
Big final.
Both in.
Pretty close in terms of end-to-end reaction times, smoking the tyres. Mark Drew was worried about that. Gee, the incrementals were quick early for Matho, but he gets the job. A wobble in the shutdown area, 6:39. So he takes the crucial first round points. He's done that now 3 years in a row. Unbelievable form Chris Matheson's had since he's entered the Andra Pro Series in Top Bike.
Respective teams, handshake and backslaps all around. We go on board with Mark Drew. Smoked the tyre off the start line, and Matheson just left him for dead, and he takes the win at the Fuchs Nationals.
Carrying plenty of heat in the shutdown area, goes by Matho. Smoke again early for Matheson, so still overpowering the track a little bit. Bit of a mid-track wheel hike too for Mark Drew.
One more from behind Matheson.
When you see the bike moving around like that, shows it wasn't perfectly latched onto the racing surface. One more replay. Early smoke, just past the 60-foot marker. As I said, I think Mark Drew was worried about overpowering it, but knew he had to serve it up to this man. The final of Pro Stock of the Fuchs Australian Nationals. We'd like to thank Wayne Hoyles and everyone at Fuchs for their multi-year support, not just of this event, should I say, but of the sport overall.
100 years Fuchs Lubricants has been in Australia. Fantastic.
Yeah, John Zappi and Top Dorslam actually had a very impressive tribute mural on the back of his car. Of course, another one supported wonderfully by Fuchs Lubricants.
So it all comes down to this. Michael Ali staring down the track at perhaps his first ever win in the Andra Pro Series. Jason Hedges has finished twice.
Pro Stock these days is much about survival. The bracket is pushing the cars and the engine so hard, they're really asking big issues and questions of the valve track. Everyone's looking at camshafts that are angry, lumpy, aggressive.
Quick look over the shoulder for Ali.
In fact, talking to Jason Hedges, they're changing our valve springs, at least 2 of them, after every second pass down the track. That means taking the cylinder head covers off and replacing springs. It's just amazing.
That's what it takes to win, and that's what they have to do. Every team will follow.
Looking forward to that RJ chassis, no doubt. Had fresh tyres on at the Winter Nationals, and he believed that was also a key ingredient, as much as the lift in the engine program for the Deco Glazed Glass Splashbacks entry. But Michael Ali, he's a real chance in this one.
Oh, the red line for Hedges.
The kiss of death. He's still going to be 0-2 in attempted making files, and just to rub the salt in the wounds, he runs an 07. But Michael Ali, congratulations, a 1-0 again. It's Groundhog Day for the SA Constructions machine.
That keeps his average at 7.102 for the weekend. On board with Ali now. And surely by then, Dean, he must have known he had the win.
Should have ended the car in Super Sedan. He would have nailed the dial in every round of racing. Unbelievable performance by the South Aussie. Consistency delivers here in Sydney. Gee, Hedges though, so quick, so impressive, just a little early off the start line. He will be so disappointed, but well done to the South Aussie, taking out this first key round in the Andra Championship. The Andra Pro Series, awesome again from Pro Stock. And it looks like Bluey is unable to front up. Too much damage, so a lot of people saying we had an epic finish for Pro Stock Motorcycle at the final round of last season's Pro Series at the Winter Nationals. And some saying he's probably a little lucky, Momo, to squeak the championship. But sometimes, as legends in motorsport often say, you'd rather be lucky than good. Well, this time he's won it fair and square. They've just been in so much control of this bike, and Morris Allen's riding of it. This Milwaukee rider has had a great event and a great start to the championship.
Gets a wobble there at half track.
For the first time, a chink in the armour, but still runs a 30. Despite that, a nice speed too.
Yeah, fastest of the weekend, 294 kilometres an hour. And Momo wins the Nationals.
This tracker, watch the back end of this bike mid-track. Carrying the front wheel lovely on the early part. Whoa. Just a little loose for a moment there. These bikes so twitchy.
Car's about to fire.
A lot of people remark about Perth. It is a little different in the Andra Pro Series. They like to build the drama by firing the cars up behind the tower before bringing them forward. I have to say I like seeing it in the crowd, to be honest. Such a cool thing, seeing that big starter cannon engaging the supercharged engine. A little twitchy in the burnout, but we're not shocked at that with Zap. He does that from time to time.
And the Procom team very busy in between the semis and this race. They've made an engine change to this car.
That said, seeing those two warriors emerge from the tunnel definitely brought a loud cheer from the parochial Perth Motorplex crowd. I think most of them would still be cheering for Zap despite his unbelievable run at this category. PK has started the season in great form and wants to continue it on here against this man in this final.
Second time they've met in the first two rounds of the championship. They met in the semi-finals. They last met in a final back in the Nitro Champs last year. And that's where Kapira's Stranglehold got off to a good start. Now, John Zapier has made the final 2 out of the past 3 years and lost on both those occasions.
He's had this habit of starting a little slow. By slow, I mean still close enough to winning the event, but just a little bit off and then coming on like a bat out of hell. But this Batman in the other lane wants to send him to the belfry. Final preparations are being done. Have to say though, for Zap, he has been hurting a few bits and pieces in the engine department, smoking pistons by the looks of things. Some saying maybe ignition glitch, maybe some cylinder head issues. How will he front up for this one? They were thrashing in the pits to make this final.
Advantage to Kapiris again. The burst panel blows on the Procom car and he's not going to win again, and Kapiris does it. 581 ET of the weekend, just a whisker under 400 k's an hour.
That is nice. Take the win, take the round, and take the bonus points. He's for real this year, the Kapiris Brothers Racing Team. PK is here to play for the championship.
Look at Zap's car.
Big trouble for Zap.
Man,
That's uplifted it's uplifted the supercharger. The burst panel has gone ski. You can see it right in front of the windshield there.
That's twice we've seen that this weekend. In the other lane, though, straight as you like, Peter Kapiris, 581, and wins the Golden States. That's what life's like at 400 kilometres an hour here in Perth. Leaves Zapier in his wake.
Oh, big torch. Big win for the Victorian.
We started with 7 and we're down to 2 here. The Golden States for 2011 at Perth Motorplex, the second round of the Andra Pro Series for top alcohol. The crowd sense they're in for a real treat here. Let's hope it's a good race, this one. Both cars have struggled tonight. This man in particular, Rob Pilkington, staring down the barrel of his first win in the Andra Pro Series. Made the semi-finals at the Winter Nationals last year. And this man, his second ever final. He's finished runner-up once, but wants to go one further here tonight.
The big question for the Marchant team is, right for Pilko and the burnout, it's a real tricky situation. Let's play Nostradamus here. What sort of tune-up would Marchant and the team put in that dragster? I would predict they've probably locked in attempting another 560 run. On one hand, on paper, you think that isn't enough to beat Pilco normally here at Perth Motorplex, but the upshot for the Marchant team is that Pilco's yet to get down the racetrack today. Now, Pilco delivers, he's 550 for sure. That's a big if, though. Let's hypothesise. If I'm Marchant, yep, dial in a 560, see how we go.
Notice I've kept quiet.
Yes.
Known for cursing.
Yes. You put me on the rack.
Well, Adam Marchant, son of legendary WA racer, the Hall of Famer, Charlie Marchant. There's Dad's eyes staring through. And Rob Pilkington.
I think Mummy Bond should almost be a Hall of Famer herself. Very passionate about promoting the category, not just here in WA, but right around Australia. And there's James Rowland again with a mini sort of moustache going on there, James.
Don't know about that.
I don't know if it's a good look either.
Coming from a guy who can't grow a beard in 2 years. Enough about that. We've got a final to come.
Have they resolved the problems with the forced equipment funny car? This is classical top alcohol, dragster, little less blower overdrive, little less engine capacity, little less weight in its favour and a little bit more predictable. The Pilco car's been anything but predictable today, and that is rare for the Pilkington team. Finals time now. Reaction time advantage to Pilco. Marchant then got an advantage, had to shut it down. Pilco pedals it, Pilco wins it. Not the most spectacular race we've ever seen before.
No, we've seen better this weekend, that's for sure. Marchant trips the time as I have this nasty feeling perhaps it shook itself and the kill switch has kicked in. The car has gone silent just past 60 foot.
A win is a win is a win. Jackie Pilkington congratulating the Marchant team, including James Rowland. Yeah. Well, certainly Marchant, I think, overpowered conditions somewhat off the start line. Just getting a little cold out there on the racetrack. Pilco able to catch it and get the win.
On the start line.
Not sure, not violent shake or anything for Marchant. On board with Pilco now. That might have just been a pure and simple shake or overpowering scenario for the funny car. Was able to regather momentum at the end.
Could this be the moment for Damien Harris? It's technically his third final. He qualified for the Winter Nationals last year before the rain ended that weekend. Lost to Phil Reed last season too. And now stares down the Perth Motorplex quarter mile, hoping for his first win in Top Fuel.
Great to have, said it before, but say it again, good to have the Rocket Industries car here. Speaking of the Reeds, it'd be great to see Team Reed back in the Andra Pro Series as well. And I know, speaking of Bruce Reed, the reason I mentioned him is he is a big rap on Tim Adams, I'll get it out eventually, the best tractor parts car. Always said, a lot of respect for that team. They're going about it the right way. And we're starting to see they're not rotating the earth in the classical term. They're just running a sequence of 4.8s, 4.7s, but they're doing it all the time. And that's how Darren Morgan, for example, last season was able to win a championship. Just kept on getting down the racetrack.
Talk about 4.8s and 4.7s. Well, that team, the Rocket Industries team we just saw a moment ago, have only been out of the 4-second range on 2 occasions this season. But can they take down this man, Damien Harris, the quietly spoken man here from the West?
All the housekeeping done, watching the RPM on the race pack data screen. Sure, Shaq and the BTP team would love a win against a big name. Here we go. Final for Perth Top Fuel. Stab and steer. It got twitchy for Cowden. And there you go. Another 70 and a great result. Well done to Paul Shackleton and the entire team.
472 gets the win and gets his maiden victory in the Andra Pro Series. Well done, and grabs the 50% bonus points. The Shack attack is pumped up.
It is a Shack attack. And Tim Adams, he's got a lot of respect in that pit. And even amongst the races as well, Damien Harris, well done. Let's have a look here firstly at Cowan. Yep, smoked the tyres. And the best thing about this is the left lane wins. So they have managed to massage the timing on that VTP car to get through some of those transition points on the racetrack and cream Cowan at the finish line.
Watch Andrew Cowan, left of screen. Deja vu from round one. 1, 2, 3 attempts. Let's try a fourth.
5, and that was it. The motor just said enough already. Awesome final. Anyway, this will be fun. On board with Andrew Cowan. Stab, steer, shake, rattle, back pedal. Eventually, the Nitro motor says, enough please. This has been too much hard work, but it is. It shows you do have to race these cars when they get away from you.
That's a rerun of the Fuchs Australian Nationals final. Now, believe it or not, this team have changed engines before this final round here. And they can do that in around 20 minutes these days. To do a full turnover of this bike takes around about 35 minutes. You do everything from resetting the clutch, changing the rear tyre, replace the chain, bleed the brakes and load the new tune-up in about 35 minutes.
Take you and me a bit longer.
Yeah, about 3.5 days, I would have thought.
They're not light, those engines, either. A lot of components fashioned as we... Sick shot for Mark Drew. He's got to come in with some confidence. He looks stout. PB by a long, long way. And historically, we've heard it earlier in our Synchrone Tech piece about the challenges between multi-cylinder bikes and particularly for the V-twin Harleys. It is testament to the K-Trans team. They are so close. There is no replacement for displacement is a classical drag racing saying. And this bike right here, monstrous amount of horsepower.
And he's never won here in the final, Chris Matheson I'm talking about.
For a
3
guy,
attempts.
For a guy that loves the place, he has had his struggles here.
Well, last year, he failed to get to the staging lanes in time. They shut the gates. Remember, we had that shower come through at the very last minute.
Yeah, Roger Bluer was quite finicky about that, and deservedly so, you'd guess. Here's a chance to put things right.
Matheson got lane choice for this final. He had the quicker ET of the two. Now a stout ETs also. The final of round 2 of the Andra Top Bike Championship.
Oh, shallow bowl from Mark Drew. He's bumping in super shallow. And he's still had a brilliant reaction time. This is it. Tyre smoke for Matt, though. Drew's going to win it.
Oh, no! He doesn't win it. He hits the centre line, takes out the foam beams.
And they think they've won the K-Trans team because they can't see over the hump in the track. Mark Drew knows what's happened. He's hit the timing cones.
Now they know.
Unbelievable stuff. Matheson left well, but he had early tyre smoke.
And a lot of it.
Smoke. Oh, man, a little aggressive. Probably that's the problem when you're changing out engines, the torque curve, the characteristic of the engine, everything changes. And also, how much time have you had to get the clutch right?
He would have thought there, it's over. I'm going to lose to Mark Drew.
Even here, Drew looks safe and sound. Just that last 10 metres. Unbelievable for the West Aussie, his home track. This will tell the story. Smoke for Matheson. Mark Drew. It's almost like his feet are probably what's been the difference. Just a steady diagonal line. But that tells the story. Tough break for Mark Drew. But the championship is on. As we head into our final at the Perth Motorplex, and again, this world-class venue has delivered in terms of top fuel drag racing action.
And the crowd can sense this. On paper, Darren Morgan should win. The past 4 finals he's entered, he has won them. Won the championship last year up against someone like Mark Sheehan, who up till this point had not won a race, and is now staring down the barrel of perhaps his first win in the Andra Pro Series.
I was talking about Sheehan before winning Top Alcohol. I know one thing for sure, that may be debatable, but he was in a final here just a handful of seasons ago, racing some accomplished dragster and funny car races. And went all the way to the final in an altered, which doesn't have that aero advantage like a funny car or a dragster, to be honest with you. Both cars fired up now. Ben Patterson watching very closely the engine RPM. We've talked about that a lot. They'll make adjustments. There's some air bleeders around the supercharger area. They can change the air to fuel mixture. Almost in synchronised swimming style, both top fuel cars coming out to the Perth Motorplex Arena. So the story for these two competitors. Round one for Darren Morgan was a smoke of the tyres. Round two, or the semi-finals, superb run, blistering run down the quarter mile. Sheehan, it's almost the flip side of all that. Round one, 4-seconder, semi-finals, probably a pre-programmed shut-off just past half-track.
And lane choice going to Darren Morgan with that 484.
That's important, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. I've said that a couple of times during the course of this program. But Mark Sheehan, the crowd can sense, could this be the second West Aussie to win in succession here in Perth? This key round of the championship has always thrown a curveball in the Andra Pro Series in the recent past.
Morgan normally very good here. Has been good again.
That ignition dramas with this car just before they came around to the staging lane, so it hasn't been an easy weekend for the AEG Power Tools team.
What a scalp this would be for Mark Sheehan. His destiny probably less than 5 seconds away. Conditions are fantastic now for top fuel. Pretty even in terms of reaction time, and that's a bit of an upset, more than a bit of an upset. Well done, Mark Sheehan. He's run 2 4s today. You can say it's an upset, but you run 2 4s, you deserve to win the round. Congratulations to the Sheehan Racing team. That's a massive upset.
And massive gain in the performance of this car. Replay one more time. They were even to half-track, discoloration of the flames there for Morgan, and Sheehan grabs his maiden win.
I just heard as well, actually, that Morgan and the crew had an issue. The engine quit in the fire-up. And the indicators are they've bypassed the MSD ignition box to get that car down the track. Top fuel, both cars carrying good speed across the finish line. So here you go. The final for Top Door Slammer. And if ever John Zappia slightly vulnerable, it's now, because reports were coming through before this matchup. They were trying to fire this car up in the pits and they had trouble. They tried once, they tried twice, they tried 3 times. It took multiple efforts before this Pro Comp car could fire into life. But it's fired up now.
It was a nervous moment, that's for sure.
But Judd, well, it's a statistical disparity, there's no doubt, between these two. You could argue Judd could be, probably should be the man that could have won a couple of Pro Series championships now. Not just 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3. There's been one man that stood between him and that Ultimate Series Gold Christmas tree. This guy.
11 times they've met in the past. It's 10-1. The only time that Judd beat him was at the Fuchs Nationals in Sydney back in 2009. In a thrilling race, he went 585 to win that day.
In fact, at that time, it was the quickest side-by-side race in the world. Not just Australia, but in the world. The crowd, you almost sense it. They're on the edge here. They know this is key. Bonus points. There are loading of points in the series for all events in Western Australia due to the distance and travel factor for many of the teams. On board now. Placement of the car will be essential. In that earlier semi-final, Robin Judd, they had to short shift to get it away from the start line, and with the short shift still ran 590 something.
Moment of truth now. The final of the Western Nationals for 2012. The final round of the Andra Pro Series out west this season.
Geez, both reaction times a little soft. Good race, but a great win to Zappia. Unbelievable considering the obstacles and nice top-end speed for Robin Judd, but both reaction times, I should say, 0.2 for Judd.
What was that about?
Gee, and he was vulnerable, Zap. 0.17 is not sharp either. 0.17, and you're got the start line advantage.
Well, he was a bit cautious. Judd was in previous local races here about dropping red lights, but that was a massive drop there. He's been averaging 0.149 all season, and it's not enough. 401 kilometres per hour. That's 249.3 miles an hour. 0.1 of a mile per hour off his all-time record in the eliminations.
Gee, look at that, Zappy. Such an instinctive race. The car moved, it wiggled, he corrected it, he wins. The final of Pro Stock now. And the conditions are sweet as brew, as we'd say. Nice weather conditions now. The track has tightened up some. We've seen that with the Rocket All-Stars runs. We're back to Pro Series Professional Group 1 drag racing. Dennis Whiting, if he's going to take a win, as he comes through in his preparations for this final, he's going to have to beat one of the big guns in the category in Tyron Tremaine.
We talked about him being relaxed before. He had the eyes like dinner plates there going through the burnout procedure.
Third, fourth, fifth gear. Bang it into reverse, get guidance, and really hopefully put this car, Matt, back on the freshly laid down burnout rubber he's just put on the start line area.
Now he's got the speed record in the books. Of course, you can find all the...
You're getting gritty, are you? Chasing an ET potential here,
Yeah,
you think?
I'm feeling confident tonight. Usually I curse drivers, but tonight I'm having a good success rate.
I'm good at the commentator's curse. Beautiful car, this one. The Tyron. The laconical Queenslander.
This doesn't look normal to me, Dean. Haven't gone through a burnout procedure here. Looks like
Four-time champ Aaron looked a bit nervous, didn't he?
Yeah.
The eyes have it for Dennis Whiting. Those glasses have worked well. He has been great here in Perth. Can he get his hands on the gold? Chris was a real journeyman in Pro Stock.
7:05 in qualifying in Sydney. Went 7:06 here. He went 7:08 in the first round. 7:07 in the semis.
The body language isn't good for the Tremaniac team. Pre-stage lights are on. No revs, not even phantom revs for the Tremaniac car, so I'm a little concerned. Yeah, nothing happening. So Whiting just needed to leave green, and he's done that. Doesn't want to cross the centre line on board. Well done.
And it's there. 7:02. He gets the national record. 7:02 with a 2.
Give me a break. What an event. Michael Marriott there, congratulating the Cambodia Welding Works team.
That is insane. Well done to the whole team on that one. 7:02. Richard Zappia shakes hands with the team as well. And unfortunate for this team, the Tremaniac Racing team push away Tyron Tremaine. What on earth has gone wrong with this car?
Still, with a new car combination, they have to be pleased. They've made it all the way to the final. That's it. Just, yep. Tyron knew. He just thought I'd front up, see if Dennis pops a red light, and that would have handed the win back to him. Belladonna outlaw style, shall we say. But it didn't happen. And Dennis Whiting, what a result. New engine. He wasn't sure on the outright performance potential, or he could have just been playing a game of poker with us, Matt. Congratulations to the Queenslander. Time will tell against his storied foe for Pro Comp and Fuchs Lubricants.
So this is it. Both going through the burnout procedure.
The burnout for the Synchrome Slammer. The only question I have is, do we take anything out of what happened to Ben Bray in the semis? Did he just put the cue on the rack there, or did he actually miss the setup in that semi-final battle? I guess we're going to find out shortly. Carrying their cards fairly close to their chest after semi-finals. I'm excited to spare things a little bit and be fully prepared for this one.
Zappia had to pedal and steer the car down. That was clearly obvious in the semi-final.
That's an
You
understatement.
didn't need me to tell you that.
Wheel speed. I talk about it a lot, but it is so important in drag racing. You want to get a good contact with the rear slick tyres, the big rubber tyres, with the track prep, where there's a traction compound sprayed on, then they drag tyres, the track staff here at Sydney Dragway during the week, and then the build-up of rubber from these cars on the racetrack. And I have to say, big dip of the lid to John Henman, Ray Treasure, and everyone at Sydney Dragway, because this racing surface is A1, as good as we've seen definitely this season. The best we've seen this season, by a gap.
Ray Treasure has not stood still since Saturday morning. Covered about 30 kilometres of Sydney Dragway.
I think he needs European sponsorship when there's events on. He gets very, very wound up, doesn't he? He loves his drag racing, so passionate, and that's what this place, Sydney Dragway, needs. And then some. A lot of the racers and competitors helping in getting this venue ready for this round after the horrendous rain that this part of the world's had in recent weeks and months. Us West Aussies are almost content. That's normal for Sydney, but it's awesome weather now for an awesome Top Door Slammer final. Can Benny swing and beat and knock out Zap? Let's find out.
Well, he's got the advantage. And Zapier squirming at half track. This looks close. I think he's going to do it.
Oh,
he does
so
it.
Close. Oh, for a moment I thought Ben had won that. He had the advantage to about 1,000 foot surely, but Zap finds a way again.
Unbelievable. 5/100ths of a second at the finish line. You can be forgiven for calling that as Ben Bray. But John Zapier nails his 15th win in 29 appearances in the modern-day Andra Pro Series. Here's the replay.
Lumpy Lorimer, yeah, mate, you've got it. You're numero uno again. But well done to Ben Bray. The future is very bright for the Synchron team. Not just Ben, Victor Bray coming back strong. And wait till they get their new engine components and superchargers. That is a wicked ride.
Thousandths of a second separated them at 60 feet. The advantage to Ben Bray, but then it was all John Zapier, and takes another win.
I think this will be a beauty. With a expectant crowd for this one. Shane Tucker, you talked about it before. He's coming into this with high emotions. And I think not just to win this round, but as you said, around the surrounding the story of Daniel Shea, his father on the crew in the team for this race.
I passed them as they go through the burnout procedure. I passed the team as I was making my way back to the commentary box for this final, and they're extreme. It's a subdued mood. They're excited about the final, but they know there's a lot of emotion behind this as well. For Jason Grimer, has never made it to the final, never made it past really the semi-finals in Pro Stock racing, but they've never raced each other in Pro Stock either.
The good news at Sydney Dragway is we've got wispy clouds and plenty of blue sky, so that equals great Pro Stock conditions. And the story's got to be for Shane Tucker is how's that engine now? They had to play with the lashing, and you hear fancy words around the cylinder heads, trying to get the valve train sorted. They ask a lot of the valve springs. They'll change them out frequently. They're spinning the engines at over 9,000 RPM. Reaction times, they've been crucial all event here at Sydney Dragway. For more information on upcoming events at this amazing drag racing venue, they need your support. sydneydragway.com.au. Tuck and Grimer. The story of Pro Stock continues, doesn't it? New names every round, it seems. Harley, Whiting, the winners so far this championship season.
They did find a damaged valve in the Tucker car in between the semis and this race.
Oh,
no.
It's over for Grimer, you'd think, barring a travesty for Tuck. There you go, high emotion for Shane Tucker.
Look at Grimer's time, though.
Oh, that just rubs salt into the wounds for him.
And watch the emotion fall over now.
Big win for the Monster Energy team.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I love you all, drag racing.
That was Damien Shea. That is actually Daniel's father. Very vocal, very emotional, but a great result for the Monster Energy team.
And finally, the drought has broken for Shane Tucker since 2009. Grabs his first final.
Almost a hint of rattling of the tyres there on the start. High-speed ride. Now it's the final for Pro Stock Motorcycle here at Sydney Dragway, and Michael Gilbertson. Oh, I'm a bit nervous about the way he's walking that bike after the start line. He normally does that though. Maybe I'm jumping at shadows here, but how about Russ Lemberg? What an event. This bike, and Trevor Birrell, a man that's seen it all, has been helping them out too. He's been all over the show, busier than a hornet in a hornet's nest.
And it would be a fairy tale win, wouldn't it, for Lemberg? He top qualified comfortably. Everything he's touched today has turned to gold. But this man, the former multiple champ, Michael Gilbertson, wants to spoil this party. A pair of Queenslanders in the final. They've met on 2 occasions so far in the Andra Pro Series since 2007-2008. Last time they met was at the 2010 Winter Nationals in the first round.
He did well to make the final. I know that was a troubled event, the 2010 Winter Nationals for Lemberg. And it's great to see him here making the tow to Sydney Dragway and really have a crack in the Pro Series. Gilbertson, what has he got? Lemberg suddenly going round wins, setting personal best. Now there's just one step ahead, and that is to take the event. We're on the edge of our seats here. This could be really exciting.
This will tighten the championship up either way. Both in.
Lemberg deliberate as always in bumping into full stage. Still not there, still not there. Is now. A huge reaction time advantage to Lemberg, and Gilbo has clicked it off early, and that's the way better again. That's the exclamation mark. Great speed and an even better ET. Well done, Russ Lemberg. Man, you have made the step up. You're used to winning gold trees in comp. Now you're stepping up here.
Again, it was slack off the start, reaction time-wise. Gilbertson, you can see the body language of the Hog's Breath Cafe Suzuki. But ET of the weekend goes to Lemberg and grabs his first win in the Andra Pro Series.
Gilbertson upright early on the bike, shuts it off. Congratulations to the Queenslander. What a run.
It's like Perth at home, this place. Very similar. A lot of people say that about Adelaide. And why is that? Because the sun shines. The crowd's in.
I might get
the weather's
parochial.
lovely.
I might get parochial here.
Go.
That's one of the best sunsets I've ever seen.
Well, I think I agree. There's no thinking. It is a beautiful sunset, and this should round out a terrific event. Once again, congratulations to Reno D'Alfonso, Brenton Myers, everyone at the Australian National Drag Racing Association, Rob Sharp, Luke Newhoff, everyone else. Then pulling the finger out of the you-know-what to make this event a reality. Great to see Ray Treasure and a lot of the drag racing fraternity banding together to make this event work and, importantly, get the big tick of approval by the fans. No doubt the racing has been brilliant. There's one more chapter to go. The final of Top Fuel.
And the spotlight on this one is the fact that Lamartina has got lane choice. That is going to be crucial in this. You can see the long shadows across the track here at Adelaide International Raceway. They meet for the first time this season. The last time they met was at the Willowbank Top Fuel Championship round in 2011. That day it went to Darren Morgan. Last time they met in the final was back in Perth last season, if you recall, when he put the Hungry Jack's top fueler into the sand for the second time in succession. I know he's not going to like me saying that, but we've got the vision. It's in the time capsule forever, Darren.
Well, the other interesting thing about that Perth event, you remember the brake rotors or discs glowing. Well, he's been telling us he's basically chewing through $1,000 worth of brake pads pretty much every run. He really is yanking on that brake handle to try and firstly settle the car down track, a bit like Andrew Count, as he touched on in the last round of pit reports. The Lamartina started a bit hit and miss, but they've been hitting more than missing in the last few rounds, and particularly in eliminations racing today and that last qualifier last night. They're starting to get their mojo. Aaron Hambridge, well done. This is a real Rubik's Cube. Instead of 4x4, it's like 40x40 cubes, this place, with the tricky track conditions. But everyone, certainly in Top Fuel, you've got to say thumbs up. They've really started to figure this place out. And it's only onwards and upwards in the future. So who's going to win this history-making first ever 1,000-foot victory Andra Trophy? Oh, the reaction time.
Oh, it's over for Lamartina, and Morgan is going to win this, and he does it for Mick Atherwood, his long-term friend who passed away just recently in the lead-up to this event, and does it with a 4.65 second pass and into the record books.
Fantastic run, congratulations in what was the trickier lane in being fair, but I've got to say I'm keen for it. There's Ray Treasure. I think he's just happy to see that one done and run. Replay, look at that. Now, Lamontina was clearly in front. It looked like the butterfly slammed shut there. I reckon they've had this problem before, throttle linkage.
Yeah.
Or the bracket has come away. Check this out. Like, he had a massive start line advantage on the back of him being fair to the Fuchs car too. A terrible reaction time. Replay again, watch it.
Yeah.
No tyre smoke, no drop cylinders, or, you know, other than a hint of drop cylinders. That's been a feature of these cars, but well done all the same to Darren Morgan. You're really in the championship picture now. I think a lot of the drag racing fraternity, including a lot of his rivals, including John Cannulli, would be happy to see Noobs make the final. He's one of those guys that often spends hours in the workshop at events in Sydney, helping teams fix broken parts, goes above and beyond the call of duty all the time. He is genuinely one of the nice guys in the Andra Championship. He's Wayne Newby in the JBS team.
And really wouldn't have had any points in the bank.
Even though he gives me holy heck sometimes, Wayne Newby, but not really. No, he's an awesome guy.
You don't feel alone on that part. So 12 months ago, this man made it to the final. You remember it was a famous piece of television that came out of there with that massive explosion under the hood of this car.
At the Nitro Champs in Sydney.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder who was the extreme super slow-mo operator that day.
Sounds a bit like you.
He had skinny fingers. In fact, yes, it was. It was good fun. Great vision. Wayne Newby completes his burnout. Now lane choice, and that will be a handy one. The right lane, I think, slightly the better lane. So Cannulli getting that all-important lane choice. Will it count here? Shorter burnout here. Not as fat and long and smoky as Noobs.
Well, you talk about lane choice. John Cannulli gets lane choice for the final. It's been 5-1 so far in lane 2.
Or the driver's right-hand lane,
right.
or left of screen as we look back at the start line, just to confuse everyone.
Yep.
Beautiful conditions. The final, this is ideal drag racing conditions in terms of temperature, water grains, all those factors, and the track's starting to come on too. We've seen that across a variety of classes right now.
And we got what we wanted, a dragster versus funny car final here in Adelaide.
If you like variety, Top Alcohol gives it to you in spades. In fact, we went 3 ways this event with the Altered as well. And we feel for Mark Probst. We keep touching on that. That engine, catastrophic carnage, fair to say, after qualifying. But Wayne Newby's appreciative because it's meant he's able to eke through to a final and keep him in the hunt for the championship at the very least with going this far today.
And he'll want to push. There's 100 points on offer here for a round of the championship. But this is it. Either way, someone's going into the history books.
Historical moment, the first 1,000-foot final in the Andra Championship at a Group 1 level for Top Alcohol. Newby, the veteran, Cannulli, pretty even off the start line, smoking the tyres. Newby tries to correct and loses control, hits the wall hard, very hard. Bad crash for Wayne Newby.
That is a big hit for the JBS Tools dragster. I said he had to drive as hard as he could. I think he's overdriven this occasion, but John Cannulli grabs the win. His first win in 12 months, but all eyes on the JBS Tools car.
He's A-OK. You can see the butterflies in the ejector hat flapping because his foot's stuck on the throttle there, but he gets out of the car. He's A-OK, but that was not fun to call and see and witness here at Adelaide International Raceway. Super aggressive. The crowd cheering that he's A-OK. Good news he's right in the mix for the championship, but the bad news is, with an event in Sydney looming large very soon at the Nitro Champs, he didn't need this. Replay.
Into tyre smoke, tries to get the car back in a straight line. 2 wheels, and then, that was a side-on hit, but gee, I'm really worried about the shape of the chassis of this car on board.
It broke traction, and there is a groove, and that's shake, and then smoke. He's still on it for a moment.
Good presence of mind to straighten the car up. Whether that was intentional or not, we don't know.
So let's have a look at it one more time in real time. Wayne Newby, high-speed impact with the wall at the finish line.
Check out the afternoon sun here in Adelaide.
I am checking it out. It's very pretty.
We just had to let it breathe for a moment.
Nearly as pretty as the twinkle in your eye, Matt Nolte, as the fire-up order is given.
Look how violent they are. That's the great illustration. Just fire up, spin up the engine. It's amazing when they shut these things down too. They always have to put out a forensic order on the Nitro V-twins to make sure there's no residue, no hint of nitro fuel left in the chambers. Otherwise, they can just spontaneously detonate on you if you're not careful on fire up next time. You can hydraulic the motor, and that's not pretty, typically. From the V-twin to the multi-cylinder.
Chris Matheson looking to go 3 straight this year in the Andra Pro Series. Keeping in mind, we haven't seen Top Bike in competition since December at the Perth Motorplex. Chris Porter gets into his first final. In fact, last time he made a final was against this man back at the Nitro Champs in 2010.
I was talking about that before, sort of a coming alignment of the planets. You were talking before about that event as well being the last time he produced such a tardy reaction time. It's a bit understandable, as we said before. The light angle's different, the track is different, and the staging beam calibrations, even though they're done to an international and accepted standard within the Australian National Drag Racing Association, there's little nuances, as we say, that make each track unique, and it's going to take time to get those consistent reaction time numbers back here at Adelaide International Raceway. It's going to take seat time and laps. That's what it's going to take. But this is a good final, and Matho will need to deliver. He won't want to buzz up the rear tyre and smoke it. I think Roger Blue is a very, very clever crew chief. He'll make sure the massaging of that rear tyre as much as possible. But the track is coming on.
Nothing in it virtually reaction time wise. Matheson's got the advantage, is going to win and is undefeated this year in the championship, and virtually wraps up another Andra Pro Series crown. 5:38, 287 kilometres an hour. And well done to the Nitro Voodoo team.
That's almost a SOTA, isn't it, for the championship? That performance, Chris Porter having a look at this run, just getting a little off the groove, and a fluff of smoke there. Not sure what happened there. Let's have a look at that. Oh, shuts it down, and the front end slaps down hard. Well done to Matho. Plenty of points in the bank.
Fairly business-like pass, wasn't it? No one on the left-hand side, and goes through. Wraps up another round win. The first time someone's won 1,000 feet racing here in Adelaide.
Well, the South Aussies love State of Origin, so I guess we can spin it this way. Lockie Island from Hoppers Crossing in Victoria. Phil Bluey Howard, the local South Aussie. So this is a bit of State of Origin Andra drag racing action. Looking forward to this final. And both riders can come in with some confidence. Phil Howard's so impressive in that semi-final bout, particularly after the setback he had in that final qualifying session. But this man continues to impress. So sit back, relax as we strut the final here at Adelaide International Raceway. Turn up the volume.
Well, after 3 finals appearances, Lockie Island finally breaks through for Lucas Motorcycle Oils and breaks through for a maiden win in the Andra Pro Series, straight into the history books as the first ever winner of Pro Stock Motorcycle in 1,000 feet trim, and puts himself into championship contention.
He bounced around a little bit, but Bluey Howard's superb riding effort to avoid the centre line. He would be a little disappointed because he was a lot stronger in the semi-finals, but the track just cooling off maybe a pinch. You can see as we go on board with Bluey, he got damn close to that centre line. But well done to the Victorian. Finally breaks through. We've been waiting for this for some time.
Howard comes out to almost high-five him there at half track, doesn't he? A good job to Lockie Island. Secures his first win.
Congratulations, you've finally done it.
Darren Morgan completes his burnout procedure. Unbelievably eyeing off his 3rd Top Fuel Championship. That'll put him in some pretty rare company. If he gets beyond that, we've got to deal with this season. He goes even into more illustrious company, but it'll be a monumental effort Damien Harris has a pedigree in top alcohol and also nitro funny car. And those track smarts are counting for plenty right now, as is the tuning capabilities of Tim Adams and the experience and savvy of Paul Shackleton in that best tractor parts crew.
They have been, and it's fair to say, an underrated team since they came in last season, but don't underestimate them.
Well, it's funny, I was talking to Bruce Reid and he said straight out, the moment he saw this team come out, he said, watch these guys. They will know what to do to get it done consistently. He said Shaq, Tim Adams, Damien Harris, he was wary from the get-go. And Bruce has seen it all in Nitro in this country for decades now. So the final of the Nitro Champs has been an awesome event. Big crowd, big final. Who gets the points advantage in the championship? Right here, right now. Good reaction time for Morgan, has the lead early, but then bluffs and crosses the centre line and Harris pinches it, but another blistering run, another run over 500 Ks and another 70. Well done, championship is on.
Look at Shaq.
Let's head to Willowbank. You bet. Awesome.
Paul Shackleton jumps to the sky. And why not? His 8th 4-second pass out of 9 attempts this season.
The secondary application of the clutch for the AEG team again. Smoked the tyres, but it wasn't too bad. They did a good job almost calming it down there. But on the top end, they were in trouble. And look at the injector hat on the AEG car. Dangling in the breeze, if you don't mind.
Well, you're right. This sets us up for a thriller at Willowbank at the Fuchs Winter Nationals coming up very soon.
Morgan had him at half track until there. Vicious sidestep, but well done to the West Aussie.
It wouldn't be the same without some controversy, some tension in the pits. And that's what we're about to see. It's about to square off in the final for the Nitro Champs. Keep in mind that Ham used to work for Gary Phillips many seasons ago as one of the crew members.
Oh, Gary used to be quite hands-on. He has been with a lot of teams in drag racing, particularly the supercharged blown methanol classes, all the way through from Slammer, Top Alcohol, and, of course, in Groups 2, 3 and 4 in the Rocket All-Stars Drag Racing Series.
Steve Ham made it to the final last year at the Winter Nationals. Of course, we've talked about this a million times this year. That event was cancelled due to rain up there, and now his first genuine final. It's only the second time he's met Gary Phillips. The last time was back here in 2010 in October. And that day he lost. It was a time for some redemption.
A lot of work for the Ham crew and James Rowland and the entire team, because in that semi-final they had that lean-out situation again, and to rub a bit of extra salt to the wounds, they nipped the rings in pistons 1 and 3, and they did confirm they had a bit of top fuel style blow-by going on. So they've had to do some work, but thankfully they were able to do it and get it done nicely, and they're still confident of having a good aggressive launch with this Mobil 1 car. It's the battle of the lubricants in the final.
Looking to be a classic final, and as we do each and every week on Andra Pro Series TV, it's time to sit back as we crank it up, the final of Top Alcohol here in Sydney.
Be the quickest side-by-side passing Top Alcohol we've seen, or be right up there anyway. What a reaction time. James Rowland's going absolutely ape on the star line. 008 reaction time. He deserved that.
Full 10th of a second clear, his best reaction time in his history in drag racing. And the second time, the number 3 qualifier has gone on to win a round of the championship, and over 6 times since 2008, and Steve Ham grabs his maiden win in the Andra Pro Series. What a race.
So the anticipation builds for the final of Top Door Slammer, the Elite Oils Nitro Champs here at Sydney Dragway. Conditions, check. Weather, definitely. Track conditions, big tick. We could see anything in this final. We're on the edge of our seats. A key round in the Andra Championship. There are series and points consequences in this matchup. PK really has to win this one to go into Willowbank with some swagger for the series.
And John Zappia knows that this guy will be on his A game. He has been all eliminations today at the Nitro Champs. Now, this team,
The Pro Comp team have come right into this final with balancing the ignition timing to get more out of the engine. They've taken more out of the clutch, added a bit more fuel to the fuel management system to hopefully get this car to hook up in this final. Of course, look at it now. We're totally in overcast. The track has got no sun on it. The temperatures have dropped dramatically since the semi-finals.
The good thing, though, is with the tyre build-up and wear and consistent runs, it keeps the heat in the track despite the sun falling away. But it has dropped a few ticks. But if you want cold-ish track masters, you'd look at John Zappia and Peter Capiris and say both are capable of delivering the run you need to get the job done. We could see side-by-side 570s here. It was at this venue with Judd and Zappia we saw that first low 80 run between the two in the world.
Now, both times this year they've met each other in the finals. Capiris has won. That's all the stats, of course. It's all about paper. Of course, the paper can blow away quite easily.
Peter Capiris took out the Nationals, and as he said in that pit report with Chad Nailon, he remembers this event 12 months ago. This was the turning point, starting to get their head around this race car and starting to lift the performance standard. John Zappia, what a season. Again, the guy is a master of gear ratios, gearing, not just the application of the clutch, it's the whole package for that Pro Comp Fuchs car. He has been the Zen-like master of top door slammer now for many seasons. Final of the Nitro Champs, good reaction time start for Capiris. I think he's going to get there first. He is. Well done, and a 70, and that sets us up for a wicked final in the championship at Willowbank.
And look at the speed too, a new national speed record too. It's 412 k's, it's 256 miles an hour.
What a way to round out an awesome event for Top Door Slammer again. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Sydney Dragway has set the mark this season for Top Door Slammer. Unbelievable. National record for ET right of screen, national record for speed left of screen at this event.
Doesn't get much better than this. Now we'll go to Willowbank and square up the championship. On board with Capiris one more time.
Unbelievable to think that Zappy actually overpowered the tune-up. That is rare for the iconic West Aussie. Can he set a new track record? 6:16. He wants to go quicker than that.
It's been well over 12 months since he's been into the teens, and these guys have met 4 times, but bad news for Chris Porter, it's 0-4. Matheson has 4 wins over this man. As our cameraman jumps on for the ride for this one.
Nice.
And Chris Matheson, as we said, wrapped up his 3rd straight Australian Top Bike Championship, puts him up in some pretty exclusive company in the history of top bike racing.
And let me just clarify that statistic. The track record at Sydney Dragway, 6.147. So I'm actually selling him short on his capabilities here at this raceway. Talking about Chris Matheson, the webcam, Redline Oils machine. Successful businessman, this one. He's a low-flying hobby, to say the least. Has been so close to that 5-second frontier. Wants to join a very elite list in the world. But this is the final. This is about the Andra Gold Christmas tree. Porter with issues, gets off the primary racing groove. Matho clicks off a little early. 6:17, so close to his track mark, but not quite there. It's been an amazing run. He's taken out the low ET top speed all season long, and certainly with performances like this today, Chris Matheson on race day, he continues that hot streak in this eliminator. He has been head and shoulders. I'm not talking shampoo, I'm talking class above the field this season in top bike. Admittedly, the numbers are a little thin this year, and hopefully they continue to regrow and regroup moving forward. It's been a terrific event at Sydney Dragway, the Elite Oils Nitro Champs, and it's got to be said, the sedan classes over the last few rounds of the Andra Championship at Sydney Dragway have been epic, haven't they? Just unbelievable performances, and certainly in pro stock, and this man has led the charge. He has been the frontier breaker for numerous years now. And it's congratulations, it has to be said, regardless of this result, to Pete Ridgway and John O'Carney and the entire Holden Racing team. I know Mr. McNamara and the crew at Holden will be very, very proud. Big shout out to Jerry McDormand as well, who's a passionate drag racing man. He'll already be pumping out the PR about this performance at Sydney for the Nitros. It's been unbelievable to see this icon in this class deliver when it counts. And this man too, starting to deliver
very impressively, very relaxed in the pits between semi-finals and this one, the final. And can Newt keep his return to reaction time form, Matt? He's been famous for being psychic off the start line in terms of his quick starts, but he wanted a little bit in recent rounds. Good to see him back. Confidence and belief in the car, no doubt a key factor in all that.
And only the second time they've met in the modern day Pro Series, back to 07-08. First time in the final. Newcomb made it to this final last year and won it.
Can I say, I'm going to say it, this year Pro Stock has been my favouriteest category in the Andra Championship. I do love Nitro, I love them all, but there's just something about the racing this class is punching out this season. It has left us collectively on the edge of our seats, hasn't it? And this final continues to deliver more of that.
The closeness of it all, that's what we love. Well, Newcomb gets the advantage reaction time-wise.
Massive advantage, but look at the performance advantage again! Ridgeway, 008. Newcomb must have had some issues. 720, that's a miss on the standards he set, but brilliant reaction time. That's a key start for Nuke. But Ridgeway again crunches out a killer ET.
John O'Carney very, very happy with the performance of one of his closest friends. Replay.
Calm down just a little more over the first round with 30 feet, and probably lane choice was a nice thing to have for this man as we ride on board. This time going a little to the right of the primary racing line. He's been starting a little to the left in earlier rounds, but still gets it done. Just see what happened to Newcomb here. Just didn't get the wheel speed up probably as much as he'd like over the first half of the run. But we saw a good semi-final run, but the shake of the head from the Queenslander. This sums up his season. He's got a chance to get that gold tree. He's a two-time champ in this eliminator. I just hope it doesn't wreck his mojo moving forward to continue to participate in Pro Stock Bike. He's such a colourful character. I know the family strings are pulling hard at this guy to sort of step back a little bit from this class of racing. I hope it doesn't happen because Pro Bike is starting to grow, regroup. We need him around.
And Lockie Island will be pretty happy.
Contrast, isn't it? Panic and rush in one lane and cool and calm in the other. I think Gilbo might, I fear, may just be accepting a start here. I hope that's not the case.
This guy's searching for victory number 2. If he does, he'll move to the top of the points with 1 round to go.
Yep.
Another awesome reaction time for Island.
And a big skip and a miss, so still the troubles for Gilbo, but at least he fronted up and made a final. But well done to Lockie Island, has been knocking on the door of a round win, now has gone back to back. And John, Mr. Hogshop, he's pretty stoked with that.
That's a genuine smile. He's always got that look on his face, the race face, but that is a smile. They know they're in serious championship contention now.
Looked like Gilbert had trouble getting this bike into the right gear, and then it just, either he took off in the wrong gear, giving up on getting it into the right gear for the start, or ongoing woes with the application of that dratted clutch for the Hog's Breath entry.
There it is. And then 2 goes at the throttle. By then, Lockie Island was at the finish line.
Not only is the bigger engine meant bigger results, it means bigger hopes for a championship win for Lockie Island. Well done.
He's been racing for over 30 years, but never has Dobbo taken out the Winters. For Cowan, he's looking for his first Andra Top Fuel Championship, but to do it, he'll have to win the race and then also take away that low ET, which is the 466, plus the mile-per-hour points as well. He's got to run hard and fast and be first to the finish line. It's a big ask.
Well, Dobson set his personal best ET in qualifying and has had plenty of speed out of the Santos Cranes team all weekend. Of course, he hasn't been to Victory Lane since the Spring Nationals at this track back in 2008. Long time between drinks for the man from Quince Rock in the West.
The fireman, Alan Dobson, you know, being parochial and growing up in the West, obviously watching this guy run the green machine. And on the East Coast, it was all about the Cowans first to ever go into the 4-second pass. That was his dad, Graham. His twin brother, Johnny, has also had success at this racetrack, at this event. But for Andrew, it's all or nothing. Throw a big tune-up in it and hope for the best.
Time to crown the Winter Nationals champion for 2012.
Advantage to Cowan off the start, and it's all over before half track, but Dobbo is out of here. 464, just a whisker under 500 k's an hour, and here is the champ for 2012.
How good is that? The Santos team up in arms. They've had mixed success racing in the NHRA in the USA, but they've come home to win only the biggest event of the season. And for Alan Dobson, it's his first Winter Nationals crown. He'll be absolutely ecstatic with that.
Who would have picked that coming into qualifying?
Well, plus he's gone out there and set low ET. We said it would be impossible to probably do that. He's only got it done in the final as well. Cowan was trying a massively stepped up tune-up for Cowan. It's Steve Reed, after banging the wall in the first qualifying session, coming through to the final. Number 5 and number 6. He's up against Jamie Noonan, looking for his first event win, and it's at the Winter Nats.
And unfortunately, the damage was too severe for the V8 Knights Dynamite Solutions team, and that car is not going to take part in this final. So Steve Reed is going to get the solo in this final and take out his third Winter Nationals crown since 1993.
Remember those systems we were harping on about, making sure those boxes were ticked? Well, unfortunately, there was a fuel system error with that one because it leaned out dramatically across the finish line, and a massive engine detonation through a rod, which is one of those big conrods finding its way out of the motor. It's terminal, in other words, unless you have the time and the parts to be able to fix that out quickly. Some teams do, some teams don't. What it means is that Stephen Reed, who's certainly had his own dramas to deal with this weekend, is going to be taking out a Winter Nationals crown. And
9 different winners have won the Winter Nationals since 1993. Gary Phillips, who's now wrapped up his 15th Top Alcohol Championship, has won 5. Hambridge, Newby and Reed, to this point, had all won 2, along with Paul Shackleton back in the days also. So his first race win since 2008 at the Spring Nationals at this event. And on that day, Chad, it was a solo pass in the final.
so Deb gives it one last spray. And it's all eyes on Stephen Reed, a solo final. Hopefully he can put down a nice number just to hopefully make Jamie Noonan feel a bit better anyway. Creeps it into a nice shallow stage. Should get some good ET out of this one. Well, it's a 580 with a 5. Sounded like he short shifted his way through, maybe actually. Didn't quite hit that high RPM through the shoots out early. And that is one of the easier Gold Christmas trees they'll win. They had a red light in the first one. They had problems with Steve Ham in the second one. Maybe that car was dropping a cylinder out the right bank as well. And in the solo, it's the final. But hey, take them as you get them. Alrighty, let's do this. It's the final of the Winter Nats in Andrew Top Door Slammer, and it's Andrew Sutton and Robin Judd. A couple of old school looking cars too. The Studebaker up against the 53 Vet.
So we touched on Sutton's first final. He's never made it this far ever. Made it to a semi-final back in 2009 at the New Year's Series. Lost to John Zapier on that day. For Judd, his 12th final appearance since the 07-08 Series. And unfortunately, the win-loss ratio, 3-9.
For Judd, they had a fairly good tune-up earlier in this car. It's obviously looking quite good now with running the 88, but he has been short-shifting a couple of times. Needs to wait for that shift light to come on in front of his face before he goes smashing into second gear. So those fuel lines that lead up to the injector hat, that's what came loose in that semi-final. That's why we saw the spray of methanol earlier.
Still didn't hurt the performance of the car.
Very nice. So both proven 5-second runners.
Judd's no stranger to the finals here at the Winter Nationals. Could he take his first one, or will Sutton sneak through, grab his maiden win in the Andra Pro Series? Either way, it's a new winner this season.
Final race for Door Slammer.
Another good reaction time for Judd. But Sutton is ahead here, and Sutton's going to win this.
Andrew Sutton takes out the Winter Nats, and I don't know about that. The 560, a bit of a timing glitch, I'd have to say. But Andrew Sutton wins his first Andra Pro Series meeting in what could be described as confusing conditions.
Well,
560 would be good, but I somehow don't think that would be the time. And he's ahead of half track there. He's across the line at the finish too.
He just gapped him at the finish line, didn't he? Just kept pulling away from him. Only a 5.92 for Judd.
Can we see a 5?
Well, it'd be nice. We do know that this bike has the potential. The quickest time he's gone was at Winter Nationals final, I think it was, when he did that 6:05. It was oh so close. The 600ths more, we could have seen the 5 light up on the boards. But we'll have Chris Porter and Chris Matheson. Chris on Chris. It's not quite the, 93 entries or something that we had for Super Sedan, no. But if you're making your way into the final of any Andra Pro Series event, you've done well. And if you can beat Chris Matheson, you're doing very well. Jumpers on, this is the Winter Nats.
We started in Sydney where it was mild, went to Perth and had heat wave after heat wave. That's only fitting we end the season in the cool conditions of the Winter Nationals. That's about as even as it's been all weekend, even though the 1/10 of a second range of Matheson is out of here. And it's a teen, a 6:15.
It's one of the quickest times we've seen all season. There was no way that Porter was going to catch that bike. That was way out of there in a hurry. It's good to see that the boys have stepped it up for the final. They really went out there and chased a quick time. Let's see how long he held it on for. For Porter, it was really like a bucking bull. He had to ride through it. Landed the front wheel at about the 1,000-foot mark. Just carried that front the whole way. Beautifully ridden by Chris Matheson.
And that's where we are. The finals, the 45th Fuchs Winter Nationals here at Willowbank Raceway. It's taken a while to get here. Rained out on the Monday. And now having to do it on a Tuesday. There's always a first in the Winter Nationals, isn't there? They always seem to come up with something different. I mean, you can't control the weather, but good to see the crowd has stuck around for this one as Michael Ali backs up now. The Sav Ali Constructions, his dad, based out of Adelaide, and now the new champions in the Andra Pro Series. Of course, they'll be looking forward to debuting the #1 at the first round of the new era in Adelaide on October 20.
Home race for them, which is impressive. Home race for this guy, Shane Tucker. Monster Energy team had his sister make her debut this weekend. Wasn't to be, didn't make the race day, unfortunately for her, but her bro going all the way through to the final. Past winner of this event, where he took out Lee Bektash back in 2009. Biggest event win he's had in the Pro Series. He's yet to lose a final in Pro Series trim in the recent years. Can he keep that going?
It's the only spoil of his weekend. He's got the championship. He would have won the race too. But Tucker wins, and Tucker grabs his second Winter Nationals crown, a 7:10, and the Monster team celebrate after a long, long Winter Nationals.
There is Kirsten. She didn't make race day, but she's happy to see her brother take the win. And, well, I'm not sure really what happened there, because that was a giant red light, 0.17 or something like that. So could have been his thumb slipping off the line lock button. Maybe he just got spooked out. Maybe it was the fact that he's up against a hot rod driver like Shane Tucker in the other lane, but that's unlucky. But well done to Shane Tucker.
#8 and #6. How often do we see that in the Andra Pro Series? Guys coming from that far down. As we get set for the final here, they've never met prior to this in the Andra Pro Series. Crowley's never made it past the semi-finals. It was back here in March 2011. There he is for Ipswich Tin Works. He's a bit concerned about the headwind after the semi-finals. Suffered a belly pan damage under the bike. A bit of bodywork damage as well, but apart from that, he was happy with the performance of it. Does that make sense?
Well, when you're running consistent 730s, yeah, I'd be pretty happy too right now. So Crowley's got this thing absolutely humming. But the other guys coming in with all the momentum and all the form. I'm talking about our new champion, the series champion-elect, we could call him right now, yet to be given the trophy. Lockie Island, he's done such a good job in his brief career. But the boy from Victoria, from Hoppers Crossing, I believe, has wrapped up his maiden title. Can he back it up with a maiden Winter Nats win as well? No, it doesn't look likely, but this will be one for the crowd favourite. If he can keep it up the centre line, he just does.
Luke Crowley takes out the winter nets. It's a massive moment. Bit of smoke from that bike in the deep end, but he'll be one mind concerned about the drama with the engine, and one bite he'll just be so excited about taking out his maiden winter nats win.
Best reaction time of the eliminations for Crowley. That's not going to be the perfect end, but he's still a series champion. Congratulations to Lockie Islander. Well done to Luke Crowley, who wins the Winter Nationals.